Hey guys! Welcome back to the OSBS podcast. My name's Tori.
My name is Jonathan Jays.
My name is Angelica.
And we are going to be your podcasters for today. Today we'll be talking about relationship building when it comes to politics. Because this is something that's like, recently for me, been coming up a lot. And I think it's just important to know, because there's always like a gray area, I feel. I don't know if you guys feel anything like that.
Yeah.
When it comes to, can we have,
I feel like it's like not that it hasn't always been a thing, but like it's a thing that's becoming more apparent and people are being more aware of it now, especially with our like political climate right now and like the new like presidency change and like things like that. Yeah. So I think people are becoming more aware of it and taking that into consideration. Yeah. So I agree.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. I'm ready to lock in. It's a weird time to be alive. That's
it is
sure.
a weird time to be alive. Just remember to be loving on yourself. It's hard to like look at, even though I was like looking up like some things to like update myself on to stay informed, and I was like, okay, this is real, but I just gotta take it with a grain of salt and just keep on going and fight for change. That's all you can do.
Yeah.
I was just gonna do a little update on like life. Well, we just came back from spring break. This is actually Sunday. How are y'all's spring break? Let's start on a
little spring break.
Walk our way into it.
My spring break was chill. I did nothing. I stayed here, guys.
Yes.
Worked at David's Bridal.
Okay. Good morning.
Got the stuff for Portraits of Dance.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. It was very relaxing, rejuvenating. That's it.
Right. Johnny?
Ladies first.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Okay.
tell us, spill.
I went home and it was very fun. I just like kind of hung around. I went in my pool for the first time because it was really hot. I was just talking with you guys about it. It's like in the 90s over there. It's 64 degrees, highest today. But I love it. But yeah, I did that. I got to see a lot of my old friends that I knew from high school and from church and stuff. So that was good. I met up with my old theater teacher, and I did something. I can't come out and say it just yet, but
She got secrets.
yeah, it's exciting news. And then my niece came. My sister, and her husband, and they came. They went to the zoo yesterday. They didn't go to Rainforest Cafe because that was my only request. I was like, if I can't be there for Rainforest Cafe, nobody's getting Rainforest Cafe.
I don't know, when you said your niece came, I thought you meant like she like came into the world like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
No, but my sister is pregnant with another child.
Oh, wow.
We have no idea the gender, but I'm excited. I hope it's another girl because Claire talks about she talks about making her girl army, and I like it.
Yes. Come on,
Johnny.
I did legitimately nothing over break. It was awesome. I mean, I would have been doing nothing, but of course one of my professors, for an online class, mind you,
Oh gosh.
didn't open the module for our final until the Friday we got off of spring break. It was like, it's due Tuesday. And I was like, okay, queen. I was like, oh.
during spring break.
She said, this is a take home midterm.
Oh my gosh.
And I was
that's
like,
great.
okay, 2-page paper, but it's 10-point font.
Right.
So it's 4
Oh my
pages
God! Wait,
basically.
who's your professor?
It's an online class. Her name's Bonnie McDonald.
Bonnie. I have her.
Yeah.
She's horrible. You know what? She's a great teacher. She's great teacher.
Like, I'm learning.
I'm in her class as well. Not like it's for film studies.
I'm also in that class.
You're in that one too?
Yes.
Bravo.
That midterm.
I haven't touched it.
I did it all yesterday.
Great job. Not me.
Yeah, I did it all yesterday.
How do you feel?
I'm so glad it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10-point font is insane. And she's also very, like, critical about, like, what
How
words
you
you use and
structure
how you
it.
structure your words and stuff.
She's like, don't use is,
don't use
was,
is,
where. What am I supposed to say?
There are. I'm like, girl, what do you want me to say? How am I supposed to say that?
I'm an English major, but that's above my pay grade.
That is crazy.
about that though.
It's
That's
fine.
crazy.
It's done though.
Yeah.
Period.
Cameraman, how was your spring break?
Fine. I had to clean up from that dust storm.
Oh my
Oh,
God!
yeah.
Were you here for that?
Yeah, I'm from Clarendon, so the entire town lost power for like 8 hours. It was awful.
Oh shit.
Yeah, because it was the day that I was supposed to be coming back to school.
Yeah.
We drove into town, and then we were like, oh, we need to get gas. And we're like, oh, there's no power here. Okay, let's go to the next. Oh, there's no power at this gas station either. And then we call, and we're like, oh, there's no power anywhere. Okay, awesome, let's go home.
That's crazy.
It was awful. I mean, my house did have power, so I was chilling. I was just inside.
What the heck?
But yeah, a lot of people lost power, and there was like a pylon of cars down the highway.
It was bad.
It was crazy.
I wasn't here for it,
Thank
but
God.
when I came back, I don't know if it was like, because I'm pretty sure my window was shut, but maybe just because of how powerful the winds were, there's dust like all on the windowsill, all on the air conditioner in Jones. Like
Yeah.
I have my fan, there's dust all
bad.
there, it's on the floor.
The tree across the street from my house, let me show you. I took a picture. It came down, like the street sign was down, like
Yeah, we lost a tree at my house.
it was
They were saying it was
crazy.
like almost like hurricane winds.
Yes.
It was so bad.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's scary.
I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of blurry.
Yeah.
You can't probably
I can
see.
probably zoom in.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's crazy. The tree down, gone. But they have a ton of firewood now, so that's fine, I guess.
That's good.
Yeah, we lost.
Because that's
Fire.
what Amarillo needs right now.
Yeah, more fire.
More fires, yes.
Last year it was the actual wildfires.
No,
This year
yeah.
it was dust storm.
I love living here.
And the green fires in Lubbock.
Yeah, I heard about
Yeah.
that.
What?
The like on the tech campus, there was like gas leaks. And
Oh
stuff.
yeah. My Allie was talking about it on her. She posted something
Yeah.
about it. She's a girl I know from home.
Yeah.
She goes to tech.
Wow.
But yeah,
Wonderful world
that's
we live
crazy.
in.
Yeah, wonderful,
Crazy
wonderful,
time.
wonderful world.
We've
Tariffs.
got fire weather and fire politics.
Yeah,
Guys,
fire.
segue.
Segue. Little life update. The tariffs have officially gone into check. It's 25% tariffs for Canada and Mexico because I'm gonna say it. Donald Trump is stupid.
This is a theater podcast, guys.
I'm literally.
It's
just
our
saying that.
opinion.
It's our opinion.
My opinion.
For me, I think it's fact, but take it
Teach
as
their
you
own.
will. Yeah. So prices are gonna go up on a lot of things, and they're already going.
They're
up.
already bad.
Okay,
They're
anyway.
already bad.
But yeah, so relationship building. I came upon this because little insight into my life. I'm on dating apps now. And do that. I noticed that they have like a thing that you can fill out when you're making your profile. You can put your political affiliation, and I was like, this is interesting because. And I had an instance, a conversation with one of my friends from church when I went home about this girl from my church. But it just really got the ball rolling, like how prevalent politics is. I mean, obviously politics has always been so relevant, but like especially in relationships that we have. So like, how do we approach it? How do we handle it?
Right.
So I did some research. The main source is kylo-edu.com. And the biggest thing that I got was like a lot of mixed reviews. So there was like a lot of pros, a lot of cons. So it just depends on like, I guess what website you go and look or how you view it as well. I also went on Reddit, so, because why not? But some of the pros from this specific website said it's not healthy to stay with people who have harmful viewpoints. And then it also said something about like social consequences. I guess for the pros I'm thinking the other party, not for you. But I put a question mark because I was like, what does that mean?
Maybe like I feel like keeping them like accountable, like socially.
Yeah.
I think it's more about accountability in
Right.
that kind of sense. I think.
Absolutely. And then the cons was best way to change someone's mind is to form a strong relationship with them, which could also be a gray area as well. And then So the next one is important for society that people who disagree politically can still be friends. You know?
Yeah.
Which I think, yes, another great area. Based on what I have said, the pros and cons, what are you feeling? What's the kind of vibe?
What is it not healthy to stay with people who have harmful views? The pro. Okay, let's talk about the pro. Let's talk about pros. Let's talk about pros. Not healthy to stay with people who have harmful views. That is a pro list. Yes, you already know by the first view on the thing that you're not going to agree with them. I feel like that is a good thing, just to kind of know what you're getting yourself into, because you never know. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to look at it. I can see from like both sides of that, because personally I've had experience. I mean, I'm sure y'all guys have too, but especially like when I was growing up in church, it was a weird little area. So I personally believe that like with very, very, very harmful viewpoints, you have to separate yourself.
I also think, especially like within like the queer community itself, because sometimes you have like people who are a part of the community who are on the red side of political things, which have my own opinions about that, because that is
interesting,
very contradicting.
To what you believe in.
To your life, I think. But
your life and how you live it.
I especially feel like somebody within the same community as you who does have opposing views is very hard, I think. And especially because within the community, you're already trying to fight for how you feel about your own self. And so to have somebody who's always contradicting you that is kind of similar to you, it's hard.
Yeah.
So I do agree with that being a pro as well.
Johnny?
Yeah, it's odd. I've never used like dating apps before, so I don't even know how any of that works. Probably my only like knowledge of it is I'm like the universal like friend relationship counselor, because they're like, oh, you're engaged, you should know. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
They come to you for everything.
Yeah, and they're like, what's this thing, majigger? And I'm like, what is going on these apps? What are you talking about? I think it's just interesting that, politics has become so prevalent in relationships, because I had this conversation with my grandmother a bit ago where she was talking. She's like, this used to not be as big. Like, you just didn't even talk about politics, really.
Yeah.
Just like, you voted red, you voted blue, and you didn't talk about it, which is so strange, because it feels like my entire like life since I gained consciousness in like 2016 in the 6th grade. Because I think before that I don't even think I knew it was happening.
When did you get radicalized?
When did you? But it's just been so like volatile constantly, where it's like we're always talking about politics. Everyone's talking about politics all the time.
Everything is a like a metaphor for that could be related to politics. I will say, like, when we got out of Wicked, my dad was like, that was very political. I said,
yeah. Everything is.
Everything is.
Regardless if you have to be. I also think that's very interesting that they didn't talk about it, which I can see why, because it can cause a lot of controversy and stuff, and I totally understand, and people just sometimes want to avoid conflict. But regardless or not, politics is literally like the rules of your life and affects your life. So it is something that you need to be comfortable talking about. I had a question while you were talking in the beginning on the apps. Is it like on every app, do you think? Does that option have, or is there only like some of them?
I think on some of them. I know specifically Bumble and Hinge.
Okay, that's right. Those are pretty.
Yeah, and then I have a friend who uses Tinder, and he also has.
So
it on
all
Tinder
like the key apps do have it on there.
Do have it on it. So it'll be like Bob, and then it's like a prompt, and then it's like his like Hispanic Latino, I'm 6'3", and da-da-da-da. And then it has his job occupation, political affiliation, and then like a couple other things. And then it goes on to like the rest of his profile, which I honestly think is very smart on the dating apps.
No, yeah, it is.
Like,
you want these people to know who you are. This is who
Jumping
you are.
into it,
Yeah. Especially if you're like looking for something like seriousness. You know, I totally understand. Yeah.
Social consequences. Let's talk about it.
Pros.
Social
consequences.
I
can only view it as like an accountability thing.
Yeah, I think so too. Because there was this, I'm going to tell a story real quick.
Yes, please.
Back when I was in my youth group, and mind you, it's a very much, obviously, majority white, conservative people who live in the church, and there were these kids, and we would like play games together, and it really like nothing really, like no red flags had ever gone off, no at all, until all of a sudden they start saying the R slur, like while we're playing games. I'm like, guys, like what are we doing? Like we need to stop. Church. Like that's not good, right? Right, like
God can hear you.
Right. Exactly. And I was like, guys, like we shouldn't be saying those things because it's very harmful to disabled people in that community, so we need to stop. And they were like, the typical conservative response, you're such a snowflake, all this stuff, like it's not that big a deal, like whatever. And I was like, no guys, we're literally going to Camp Blessing in a week. Like you can't be saying the R slur. And for those of you who don't know what Camp Blessing is a Christian-based camp that is for the disabled community, where they can come in and do summer camp like any other. Yeah.
You just added another layer to
the gag.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it was, and you're like, I was like, oh.
No. Yeah. So that's why I was like, guys, we really can't.
We really can't be doing that.
You can't say it, but like we really can't be saying it because we're gonna be there for a whole week. Like, you are taking, basically, if you are a junior counselor, if you're a counselor, you are this person's like buddy / caretaker for the entire week. I mean, like you know exactly who they are, what they need, and so like in some cases you literally have to like. It's basically a symbolism of selflessness because Jesus was selfless. And so, like, you bathe people, like, you feed them dinner, like, all this stuff. It's a great camp. So, you can imagine my surprise when they're saying the R slur and stuff like that, or saying they're dumb.
Leaving Sunday.
Yeah, I was like, guys, you need to get it together because this is just unacceptable. And there were multiple things that happened like that throughout my time there. And I would speak up because nobody else was going to. And they would kind of give me the same response. And like, there was this one time, what really was like the biggest, obviously a big line for me was saying the N-word. They were saying that. I was like, whoa, we need to stop that. That needs to stop. Like, you will get beat up in real life. When you graduate, when you leave here, if you go out saying that, if you make friends, if you make black friends, you will get your ass beat. Like, you will get beat up. They're like, I can't believe you would wish like getting beat up on somebody. I'm like, I'm not wishing on it. You're doing it on me. I was like, you're doing it to yourself. Like, if you're going out and you're using this language, there are going to be social consequences for this because it is not okay. It's the same with within the Mexican community. If you say the B slur, like you know.
You're like, you guys know.
Or any slur in general. If you go out and say these things, it doesn't matter where you are. There's always someone who will call you. He'll call you out. You'll get beat up. It's not something that's taken lightly because these things are harmful, and these things have been used. These words have been used to be harmful. So I agree with the thing about social consequences, like being held accountable. I think it's very important to hold people accountable in these situations, especially when it comes to, for me, with language and action, of course, because I was raised on the thing, you treat everybody equally. And for me, God loves everybody, so why not love everybody?
And especially within like a relationship that is supposed to be like so intimate, you know, and that's like really supposed to be held close to the heart. Like that is you don't want somebody who says those things, or
Yeah.
especially if you're like creating your profile and you have like pictures of like I don't even know, but like maybe like memes or something that like says something like that, that is also something that you can be like, oh no, like move on to the next or something.
I think another red flag for me is like not political, because how can you not be political at this age and time?
Yeah.
That's me. I'm like X.
You can say that you're not political, but we know that
We
you
know
we
what
know that you
you're
have
really
some
saying.
sort of opinion.
Moderate is kind of the one I'm like,
Okay.
we'll see.
We'll see.
what-
We'll test the water.
We'll
Dip
test
in the pool.
water. Dip in the pool. Johnny, what do you think on social consequences?
Oh my gosh, it's kind of going off on another tangent. I recently had a interesting time. So I'm president of Spectrum, as we all know, and had incident happen with ex member. I don't know. Things were said and they were kind of racist, and I was like, hey, let's not be racist, guys. Yeah. Yeah, it was bad. We had to have an intervention. It was really bad. But yeah, it was just one of those things where it's like, as you said, even people that are like within your little sphere in the queer community, you'd think, oh, I don't have to worry about any of this at all. I don't have to worry about it. And then it's like, and they're like, what if thing didn't exist? And I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
And it's just so weird because you just don't expect it.
Exactly.
So I think that's why it hits even harder, because obviously, if I'm talking with, some of like my, because I'm in student government, so I talk with so many people, tons of different political opinions. And, we go, like, we have the guys' party, and most of the guys are, more right-leaning, so obviously I'm seeing all these different opinions. Obviously I'm like, okay, that's fair. Like, I know what I'm getting myself into here. I know I'm gonna hear some hot takes that I'm gonna be like, whoa, that's crazy. But then, when you're in that little bubble of, the gay club, and then there's a thing that's said, and it's like, oh, that's not very nice.
Gay club.
Yeah.
Like,
This is the gay club. Why are you
What are
being
you
like
doing?
that?
What?
Yeah.
What are you doing here?
Hey, so it just hits even harder, and it just feels so much more personal, because then, you think, because it's also just the amount of like people like in the queer community that are like the LGB without the T, which is insane to me. Crazy. It's like, hey, did you know that like
part of the-
trans women like got you your rights? Did you know that?
that's part of the phrase. Like
Yeah,
everybody
it's
knows
like
that.
it's like, hey, and it's just it's so strange. It's becoming more and more, because obviously it's always kind of been a thing. There's always been those people, but they kind of were like in like the underbelly of everything and didn't like have their opinions listened to as much, because it's a dumb opinion. But now that you have when you have specific people in power, you're going to have people that are like, oh, I can say my really hot takes now, and no one's going to say anything to me. And guess what? No one says anything to them. And it just sucks so bad, because then it just makes everyone's life harder. Not just one marginalized group. It makes everyone's lives more difficult.
Yeah.
But guys, we're lacking empathy. That's the problem.
Speaking of, this is off topic, but did you guys see that clip of that one representative misgendering?
No, I didn't.
Well, I can't remember who it is, and I think it's Congress. Is it Congress?
I feel like I might have.
Yeah.
One of the representatives who is transgender, they had like a little meeting, and like the guy who was leading it like misgendered her twice.
Oh, God.
Like, and the guy next to him was like, he did it the first time, and then he was like, Representative, can you repeat your statement, like your opening? And so he did it, and then he did it again.
Oh.
But the thing is, she had a little comeback when he misgendered her. She was like, "Okay, thank you, Madam Chairman," and period. Period. And then the guy who asked him to repeat the opening, like completely like laid into him and was like, "How disrespectful is that? An elected member." An elected representative, and you're disrespecting them in that such way. That is unprofessional, and is like, what gives you the right? Yeah. Sorry, that's just what I'm
No, it's good. It's all about the accountability.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is something that I feel like a lot of people try to do, and it is hard to do, yes, for sure, because you never know how other people will react or what they'll say back to you. But definitely it being a pro is for sure. It's a good one.
So cons. The best way to change someone's mind is to form a strong relationship. How do we feel about this one?
No.
I also
immediately agree. No, because for example, family, you are blood to them. No matter how close you are to them, how strong, like, and I'm speaking from like a personal part as well. Like my mom and my stepdad, for sure. My mom tries to be, but there's always going to be that underlying tone. Even if they say that there's not, there is that underlying tone that they still don't agree with you in that way. And no matter how close we are, like she's literally, those are my parents. Yeah. Their mind's not gonna change. Right. You know? And I feel like especially with people our age who are very stubborn, who are very like, if they have their minds and views set on one certain thing, nothing's gonna get them to change. No. Nothing's gonna get them to change because we are so like strong-minded and willfully powered. And so that is such a con, and I agree, and I do not agree with that statement whatsoever. Especially because if you form the strong relationship and still to the end of that point nothing changes, that hurts you. You know, because you tried all this stuff to try to at least have them understand.
Yeah,
you know?
make a scene.
It hurts you, I think, in the long run.
Yeah, I think I do see the gray area. I think it just depends who it is.
That's true.
Because I would have to say the same thing about like my parents. My parents are very much right. My mom is completely like nailed where she is. My dad, he will listen. They'll both ask for like, you know, like where are you finding this stuff? Like send the articles to us. But I know my dad will like look at it. Especially growing up in our home. Like my brother who's gay. Obviously my mom wasn't like what. Even though she has a gay sister, it doesn't make any sense. Whatever, it's fine. Yeah.
Please, you already know.
Yeah, and we love her. We love Thea Becky. I have to tell you a story about her later. It's crazy. But yeah, so that was obviously a hard thing, and my mom still is kind of like with it, but my dad's like, no, yeah, my son's gay. Love him. Like I love him. Like. And I like his approach to it, so I know I can talk to my dad and see, like, maybe there's something, but I would definitely agree. Most of the time, you come across people who are not gonna budge. That looks like that's like majority of the thing. And it's crazy because, you know, I think it's on both sides, but I feel like more like left-leaning people are more open to like even like to try and understand and see where the other side is coming from, but it's just not reciprocated in the same way when it comes to right-leaning people. So
yeah, that's why I was saying like that underlying tone. Like you can say something, but I'm like, I know you actually have some other feelings to the statement that you just made.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, it's definitely. Same with my family. I have a bit of a different experience from like, so like my mom, who I, because my parents have been divorced since I was like little tiny. So obviously it's almost like having, you know, two sets of parents. And that's all I've ever known. So it's like, but my mom who recently came home to like live with, because I've lived with my grandparents for years, but it's just recently came home. It's odd. Very, very right-leaning, very stubborn. Will not change. And it's odd too because she's starting to get back in the dating pool again. Yeah. So you know, having these conversations being like it's so odd because so I'm like an oddity like in my family, you know, being queer and being trans. I'm like the only one. So it's like I'm the one that gets brought up at the Thanksgiving dinner when they're talking about politics, because they're like, oh, we have one of those transgender ones in our family, and it's like, okay, and it's very strange, the conversations that I have with my mother, as opposed to my grandma, who, ever since she started voting, she always voted red. Until Obama ran for president, and since then she's only ever voted blue, but she still considers herself a conservative because she's voted that way for so long. And she does have some conservative viewpoints, but she's a lot more willing to listen to things, and which is so interesting to me because, she's, a very strong-willed Latina woman of God. Right. And it's like, okay, queen, yes, diva. And then, but she's been like probably my biggest like familial supporter when it comes to my transition and everything like that. Like she's the one that like she helps me pay for my testosterone, like so it's like one of those things where it's like I think it's really just you have to be able to look at the person beneath the political affiliation and see would they be willing to make a change or not. And it's just one of those things where obviously between both my mother and my grandmother, between the two of them, my grandma is the one that's going to be willing to change, even though technically a lot of her views clash with mine. She's still willing to listen to my perspective and with time change it. Because, when I first came out to her, she was very much like, she wasn't hateful or mean, but she was like, I don't know about that. I don't know. Let me go read the Bible about it and get back to you in 7 to 14 business days. And I'm like, okay, Grandma, trust. And it's just like, it's so strange. And then also just the sort of, when you're building like a romantic relationship, it's one of those things where it's like, if you're not building the relationship on like a strong foundation, you're not going to be able to change them at all.
Exactly.
Because I think most people are like capable, but they're not always willing.
That's true.
So
that's true.
if you're like, oh, me and this person, we mash together on like legitimately every single thing except for they have a couple of these political views that do not align with mine. Would they be willing to, educate themselves on said topic and possibly change their viewpoint or not? Because I think some people, yes, for sure, 1,000%. And some people, no, don't waste your time. You're going to be wasting a lot of time. So, especially if it's something that's important to you, for sure. Because here's the thing, if a person is not willing to hear you out on something that's clearly important to you.
Absolutely. Red flag.
Not worth your
That's
time.
in general. That's in general, not just with politics.
Yeah, just move on. Like, next person, there's plenty of fish in the sea. It's just like, or like with like me and my fiance, like I'm religious, my fiance is not. And, recently that's become kind of not really a point of like contention or anything, but just something that's been starting to get brought up a little bit more. And, it's nice being able to exchange our viewpoints with each other and, things like that in a healthy conversation. And not try to, convert each other, just try to be like, okay, this is my belief, here's your belief, let's share, let's see where we, can meet each other halfway, let's see.
Yeah, exactly.
Because obviously, you don't have to be exactly like your partner, because that's just not healthy. If you're too similar to somebody, you're gonna clash.
Absolutely.
Like 1,000%.
There has to be some.
That middle line. Where is that middle line?
Yeah, and you just have to be able to see, how willing is this person to meet you halfway, and then are there some things you cannot meet someone, because it's very fair. If you have a boundary, you're like, I cannot meet you halfway. Like, for instance, I could not be with somebody who's anti-LGBT because, I don't know. Obviously. So obviously, I can't do that. Like, it's not going to work. But then there's some things, with religion and things like that where it's like, I can meet you halfway, And a lot of it's just, how willing are you to just have an open mind and just listen to people? Whoa! Listen to each other. It's crazy.
Like, I have a friend here. I won't name who, but not somebody in the theater department, but and I have multiple conversations, especially like leading up to the election, this past year. We had a lot of conversations with each other, really good, healthy conversations. And well, I can get really fired up because, I get really passionate about things. And, I had to take a step back and, hear from their point of view as well and, trying to understand because they're again, trying to find the middle point with me. So I'm going to do the same and hold myself to that exact same standard. I think it's very important. And I feel like that's how you can make that work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel like the second part of that, it kind of falls into the same thing like we were already talking. I feel like both of the cons come down to what person you're trying to talk to.
Yeah. The second one is important for society that people who disagree politically can still be friends. That's what she's talking about. But yeah, I would have to agree.
Yeah. I will let you know it is 11:17. So
yeah, okay.
We'll just keep going.
Perfect. Okay, so I was reading on Reddit, and here's what some of the people were saying. Just because you have a relationship, that's just literally what we were just talking about. Just because you have a relationship, romantic, friends, family, does not mean they'll always listen to when it comes to stuff like politics. Change My View on Reddit says, create your inner, when talking about creating your inner circle, friendships should be compatible, not combative. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree. Especially for friendships specifically, those are supposed to be the people that you connect with, that are supposed to be other people outside of family. Because I know sometimes people don't always see their family or aren't very strong on their familial values. They value friendship values more. So especially if that is one of your things, why wouldn't you want to enjoy being around those people constantly? I agree with that.
Yeah, and then also just the whole thing where, obviously no matter what sort of, relationship, platonic, familial, romantic you have, there's always going to be some sort of conflict.
Yeah.
So if
natural.
you're just constantly combative, when you actually have a genuinely big, big deal, you're not going to be able to get through it very well, if at all. So it's important to be able to initially build these relationships with people that are inherently, healthy and loving and kind. That way, when you do have these sorts of conflicts and you do hate each other for, anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 weeks, you could get past it at some point and be like, hey, we disagreed there. What can we do moving forward and grow? Because that's just what people do.
Yeah.
We change and we grow, and that's awesome and great. But if you're not with these people initially that allow you to do that, then just don't waste your time with them.
Yeah.
Go find other people. There's so many people. Go find your people are out there somewhere. I promise.
I do agree that good friendships also should challenge you as well.
Yes.
But I do agree that they shouldn't consistently be combative.
Absolutely. I think I have an experience over here. But for me, my human rights, non-negotiable for me personally.
Yeah.
And it should be for everybody. And that's what I strongly believe. And especially with, this is my opinion, I hate Trump. I hate his guts. I want him dead. And I will never budge on that. Period. I will never budge on that. When the election happened, the election results happened, and I was seeing all these people, obviously there's so much high stakes with this election as well. And while yes, there was some, there have always been high stakes, I don't know. This one kind of felt a little bit different.
Yeah.
This one was different.
Yeah.
And this is my first time that I actually voted in the presidential election. And I felt I'm passionate about this stuff. I have a say. I'm going to use my voice, not only in this way, but in the rest of my life. So it meant a lot to me. And whenever I was seeing people that I knew from home posting Trump and stuff about Trump winning and stuff like that, I blocked them. Yes, I blocked your ass. Yes, I blocked you. I had one of the girls, you see I name dropped here, who posted about Trump and in support for him, and I blocked her. And I forgot to block her on text message, I think, because I just like didn't care enough, I guess, because I could block her on everything else. But she ended up texting me, because she's from my church, and we used to have a very close relationship. Like we were pretty good friends. She texted me and she sent me this whole long thing, and she was just checking in and seeing how he was, and then she was like, also, like, I saw you block me on Instagram. I don't really know what that's about, and all this stuff. And I didn't respond to her. Duh.
Fair.
And then another girl from my church who I love, and that is so awesome. She sent me a thing, but I just forgot to answer her. So when I went to visit this pair of friends that I have who are from church, I was talking with the guy who works there, and he works with both of them. And he was like, yeah, I think both of them think that you hate them. And I was like, well, he was specifically talking about the one that I'm like, yay, not the Trump supporter. But I was like, oh, are you talking about this person? And because they definitely reached out to me, but I blocked them. And he was like, yeah, that they're like pretty sure it's because Trump and stuff. And I said, yeah, I hate him.
Yeah, it is.
So I did block her.
I'm glad she knows.
I don't hate her for it, but I hate him. And for me, I cannot support, especially coming from a Christian standpoint, what we are taught is to love people as Jesus has loved us. To support somebody who goes against all of that is mind-boggling to me, and it angers me as a Christian. It doesn't make me any less Christian.
Yeah, I know.
Whatever you believe, but it to me, I cannot support somebody who does not clearly and has genuinely never supported the LGBTQIA plus community, women, people of color, indigenous people, and many more, and has been openly racist and
Continues to be.
Yeah, and continues to be homophobic. All this stuff. I cannot support that, and I cannot tolerate it anymore, because in high school, I guess I was like, oh, I want everyone to like me. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care anymore. I don't care. Human rights is non-negotiable. To support somebody who goes against everything that you like do.
Yeah.
You live and breathe. He actively hates you, and you voted for him. Cannot comprehend that. He actively hates women. He actively hates the LGBTQIA plus community. He actively hates people of color, actively hates indigenous people. And some of them will still vote for him. I can't comprehend that, and I will not settle for that. I will not settle anymore. And I personally don't think it's a red flag or anything for these dating apps to be like, oh, conservative? X.
Yeah, no.
Not political? X.
You're gone.
Moderate? I'll think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where, like my grandma, as I said, like she's voted blue since, like Obama came into, because from what she said, after, Trump came, because my grandma, she's very religious. She's the one that, was able to help me get past my religious trauma that I experienced from my mother and let me be religious for really the first time that I've ever been. And, she's always, as you said, she, taught me, oh, did you know that Jesus preached love? And I was like, what? I didn't know that. It's not. My mom told me that we should hate everyone that's not Christian and if they're gay and if they don't look like us.
Right.
And it's just so odd, just seeing this climate, because the intersection between, Christians, white Christians, and even some non-white Christians and people that voted for Trump, and people that just actively take away your rights is just ridiculous to me. And I think it's one of those things where when people that you care about actively were crying actual tears when Trump won, actually.
Migor.
Yeah, me and my fiance were actually.
I drank all day. I had one day.
Sobbing, crying, terrified when those were election results dropped. And it's just one of those things where it's I just don't know how people can't see that.
Yeah.
Because it's not like it's not there.
Yeah,
lack
and
of humanity.
I know we keep going back to religion, but specifically Christian people who say that they want to love everybody, and that they want everybody to be a part of like God's path and like things like that. Like,
I'm pretty sure y'all wouldn't have let Jesus into the country.
I don't know.
No.
Honestly.
If it was Jesus Christ himself, Jesus was a person of color. He grew up in Israel. He was poor. He was poor. And if he wanted to immigrate to the United States of America, if Jesus Christ himself was standing in front of you and he was like, "Hey, can I come to America?" No, you need your documentation. That is crazy. Like what?
That, and also Jesus loved women. I don't know about y'all.
Jesus loved women. He ate with the prostitutes. He ate with the tax collectors. And like, while yes, like from a religious standpoint, coming from that, like knowing Jesus loved everybody, and like for me, that's where my discourse with religion is. It's like I try to love everybody, but again, there's a certain point where I'll love you from afar, because I cannot surround myself with that.
Turn the other cheek.
Yeah, exactly. Turn the other cheek. When they strike you down, you just turn the other cheek. But yeah, so that's my little spiel on.
I love that. It's important. It's important.
It is important.
It's also a common thing that like a lot of people like run into. So
and stand your ground.
Yeah,
don't be afraid to stand your ground.
Yeah,
because especially here in the Panhandle, oh man, brother.
I was born and raised here. I know.
Exes I have to do.
I know. Born and raised.
No, it's just but yeah, just be conscious and stand your ground and stand in what you believe in and take care of yourself. That's all you can do.
Also, be open to listening and learning, but know where your lines are.
Exactly. Know where your boundaries are, and know that if they're crossed, out.
And it's okay to have boundaries as well.
Yes, it's okay. Boundaries are 100% okay.
We love boundaries.
Yeah. Well, that's all I have to say about it, but... So I guess we're coming to a close. That's good. Yeah. Well, we hope you enjoyed this podcast.
Hope got your mind going.
Yeah. Hope you get your mind going. It will be out soon, but you better watch out because we have a discussion this Wednesday. Guess what? It's Women's History Month.
Period.
God bless.
It's gonna be a Kahoot as well, so it'll be fun. Come learn some things and be a little competitive if you want.
My Venmo is @ToriIsTrash. I expect whoever to watch this, if you watch it all the way through it, because I hope you better be watching this through. This is important. I expect $5
For each
person.
Each person. All these
yeah,
college students.
We'll be talking about Women's History Month. We'll be talking about like women and stuff, and it'll be awesome.
We love women.
So keep an eye out for that. Keep an eye out for Portraits of Dance for our dancers. We love you. We're excited for that to happen.
Yeah.
Keep an eye out for a funny thing happen on the way to the forum. I'm super excited.
We're all
you guys.
In for a treat.
She does cartwheels on that.
Oh, Diva, what?
I do little flips and shit. I don't know.
She does cartwheels on that dick. And small. Can you believe that? She doesn't do cartwheels on that dick. But she does some crazy shit. Y'all want to come see this? I do a little bit of belly dancing.
Yeah, she does. A little jingling,
And it's so fun. You should come support us. So
Cameraman be running the whole thing.
Cameraman be running the whole thing. You'll never know what to expect. So so come and support. Does APO or Improv Agents have anything going on? Let's support our besties. Improv Agents at APO.
Look out for them. I'm sure they got things going on too.
Keep an eye out. But we'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.